I used to think pretending was something weak people did, smiling when you're tired, nodding when you don't agree, saying, "I'm fine," when you're anything but. Turns out I was doing it every day, just quietly enough to convince myself it didn't count. It didn't start with a breakdown. It started with small approvals, the kind that feel harmless. A job I didn't love but respected, a relationship that worked but never felt deep, a routine that made sense on paper. I told myself that was adulthood. Mornings became predictable. Wake up before the alarm, coffee without taste, news I didn't remember reading, commute, emails, meetings where I spoke just enough to sound engaged. I was efficient at being invisible. People trusted me. That was the strange part. They came to me for advice, for stability, for perspective. "You're so grounded," someone once told me. I almost laughed. At home, silence felt earned, not peaceful. Earned, like something I deserved after performing all day. I didn't turn on music anymore, didn't cook complicated meals, didn't call friends unless they called first. Energy was something I saved, not something I used. She noticed before I did. She said it gently, like you say things you hope aren't true. "You're here," she said, "but you're not really with me." I disagreed, calmly, logically. I was present. I paid attention. I remembered dates and details. But even as I listed my defenses, something felt thin. That night, I stood in the bathroom, staring at my reflection. Same face, same tired eyes, same controlled posture. Nothing looked wrong, which somehow made it worse. I tried to remember the last time I felt excited without needing a reason. Not proud, not relieved, excited. The memory didn't come. The next day, nothing changed. That scared me more than anything else. I realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't lying to anyone else. I was performing for myself, and I had been doing it so long, I forgot there was another realization. That was the problem. I kept waking up, kept going to work, kept answering questions with the same calm tone. From the outside, I looked consistent. From the inside, I felt delayed, like something in me had missed its cue and never caught up. I started noticing how often I agreed just to end conversations. Not because I didn't care, because I didn't want friction. Friction meant explaining. Explaining meant exposure, and exposure felt expensive. She stopped asking certain questions. That was subtle too. She didn't withdraw. She adjusted, which hurt more. It meant she was learning how to live with the version of me I'd become. At work, I was praised, promoted even. People said I was reliable, steady, low maintenance. I smiled and thanked them. Inside, something folded in on itself. One afternoon, during a meeting I'd attended 100 times before, I felt it. Not panic, not sadness, a quiet pressure in my chest, like holding your breath without realizing it. I excused myself and stood in the hallway, staring at a fire exit sign. Green letters, always pointing out. I didn't move. That night, she asked if I was happy. I paused too long, not long enough to alarm her, just long enough to tell the truth without saying it. "I think so," I said. She nodded. We both knew that wasn't an answer. Sleep became shallow, not insomnia, just rest without recovery. I'd wake up tired of nothing. I started walking more, long routes, no headphones, just footsteps in traffic and my own thoughts, which I'd been avoiding for years. That's when the questions came back, the ones I used to ask when I was younger. Is this it? Did I choose this, or did I slide into it? When did safe become the goal? I passed places I used to love, a bookstore I hadn't entered in years, a park bench where I once sat for hours doing nothing productive. I didn't stop. Not because I couldn't, because I didn't know who I'd be if I did. She noticed the walks. "You're gone a lot," she said. "I'm still here," I replied. Technically true, emotionally incomplete. The pressure grew, not louder, just heavier, like carrying something you forget you're holding until your arms start shaking. One night, lying in the dark, I understood something clearly for the first time. Nothing was forcing me to stay the same. I was choosing it. Every day. Out of habit. Out of fear. Out of comfort, dressed up as responsibility. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. I didn't know what I was going to change. I just knew this. If I kept pretending much longer, I wouldn't recognize there was no speech, no dramatic moment, just a decision I stopped postponing. It began with small refusals, not angry ones, not explanations, just no. No to staying late when I didn't need to. No to conversations that drained more than they gave. No to pretending I was fine when I wasn't. Each one felt uncomfortable. Each one felt right. She noticed. Of course she did. "You're different," she said one morning, not accusing. "Am I?" I asked. "Yes," she said. Quieter, but clearer. I didn't know if that was good or bad. I only knew it was true. I went back to the bookstore, the one I always passed. It smelled the same, paper and dust and time. I bought a book I didn't need and sat on the floor reading the first page like I used to. No urgency, no outcome, just presence. At work, I spoke up, once, then again. Not to impress anyone, just to stop disappearing. Some people resisted, some adjusted. None of them mattered as much as I thought they would. The hardest part wasn't changing my life. It was accepting that no one was going to clap. No one was waiting to validate this version of me. Growth was quiet, almost invisible. She asked me one night where I'd been going on those walks. "I've been checking in," I said. "With what?" "With myself." She smiled, sad and relieved at the same time. We talked more honestly after that. Not always comfortably. Sometimes she told me things I didn't want to hear. Sometimes I did the same, but it felt real, like standing without armor. And then came the question I'd avoided for years. "Do you still want this?" she asked. I didn't answer right away. Not because I was afraid, because I was finally listening. "I want what's honest," I said. She nodded slowly. "So do I." That didn't mean we'd end up together. It meant we stopped lying to stay. Nothing exploded. Nothing collapsed. Some things loosened. Some things ended. Some things stayed. I don't tell this story because it's inspiring. I tell it because it's ordinary. Because most lives don't change in a single moment. They change when someone finally admits they've been postponing themselves. I'm not fearless now. I'm not fully figured out. But I'm present. And that's something I didn't know how to be before. The strange thing is this. Once I stopped trying to protect the life I had, I finally felt like it was mine.